Hello everyone, in this video we will learn about Kingdom Plantae, Kingdom Animalia, virus, viroid and lichens. So first let's see about the Kingdom Plantae. So in Kingdom Plantae it includes basically the eukaryotic that contains chlorophyll organisms and they are commonly called as the plants. That means whatever the organisms are included in these groups, they all are eukaryotic, they all are chlorophyll containing and basically we call them plantae. Some of the members of these kingdom are heterotrophic such as insectivorous or parasite. So bladderwort and Venus flytrap, these are the some examples of insectivorous plant and Cuscuta, it is a parasite. So not only the photosynthetic chlorophyll containing plants are included in this group, some of the insectivorous as well as parasite are also included in this group. So the plant cell have an eukaryotic structure with prominent chloroplast and cell wall mainly made up of cellulose. So in this group, whatever the cell is there, it is first of all eukaryotic. It contains a prominent chloroplast and the cell wall is basically made up of cellulose because we all know that the cell wall is basically found only in the plants and also in the fungi. But in fungi, it is found made up of chitin, but in plants it is basically made up of cellulose. So life cycle of a plant has a two distinct phases. That means in the life cycle of a plant it has a two distinct phases. First is the diploid sporophytic and second is the haploid gametophytid and that alternate with each other. That means after one completion of one the second will start. And the length of the haploid and diploid phases and whether these type of phases are free living or depend on each other, it varying among different groups of plant. So in different group of plant, first of all the two distinct phases is found. First is diploid sporophytic and second is haploid gametophytic, and in these one phase is alternate with each other. That means after completion of one the second will start, and these haploid and diploid phases are free living or they are depend on each other. And second thing, how much or how long it is depend on each other, this duration it is varying in different groups of plant. And the phenomena in which the first phase is complete and after that the second phase start, so this phenomena is known as the alternation of generation. So in alternation of generation, after completion of haploid the second diploid phase will start. Now the next is kingdom Animalia. So this kingdom is characterized by the heterotrophic eukaryotic organism that have a multicellular and the cell lacks cell wall. That means in Animalia, first of all, they are heterotrophic eukaryotic and they are multicellular and their cell lack cell wall. So they do not contain any cell wall in their cell. They directly or indirectly depend on plants for food. That means either they are taking the plant directly for the food or they are depending on the plant indirectly for their food habits. The digestion is in internal cavity and they store the reserve food as the glycogen or fat. So the reserve food material in animal is either glycogen or the fat. Their mode of nutrition is holozoic by ingestion of food. That means they are picking the food and they are transferred into the mouth. So this is known as the holozoic. Now they are following a definite growth pattern and a growth in adult have a definite shape and size. That means they are not growing like a plant in which they have a unlimited growth. In animals they have a limited growth in which they are getting the definite shape and size. Now higher forms shows the elaborate sensory and neuromotor mechanism. That means when we are observing the higher animals, in that they are having the ability to sense the environment in which they are using the neuromotor mechanism, and most of them are able to locomotion. That means they are able to move here and there for their food habits or any other work. Now, sexual reproduction in these type of organisms are basically by the copulation of male and female, followed by the embryogenetical development. Now, virus, viroid, and lichens. So, in the five kingdom classification of Whitaker, they mention only about the cellular organism. That means only cellular organisms are placed in the five kingdom classification. But what about the acellular organism? That means the organism that are not having the proper cellular structure. So these organisms are known as acellular, and these acellular organisms are not placed or not getting placed in the Whitaker's classification. So these are virus, viroid, and lichens. Now all of us know about the ill effect of common cold and flu, and it is done by the virus. So viruses do not find a place in the classification since they are not true living. Now what does it mean? Just because if we are saying that the organism that have a proper cell structure, only that organisms are living, in that condition we can't say the virus is a living, because it do not contain a proper cell structure, and that is why they are not getting any place in the classification. The virus are non-cellular organism, and they are characterized having the inert crystalline structure outside the living organism. That means inside the organism they are behaving like a living organism, but outside the organism they are behaving like a inert. That means they are dead, and we can easily observe a crystalline structure of the virus outside the organism. So inside the organism they are behaving like a living organism, but outside the organism they are behaving like a dead. Now just because virus do not have a proper cell structure, in that case if the virus is enter inside a cell, it will first take over the machinery of the host, and then it will start replicating themselves, and after that it will killing the host. So first it will enter in the host, it will take over or hack the machinery of the host, and that it will start replicating, and then it will kill the host. Now the name virus, that means the venom or the poisonous fluid, was given by the Pasteur DJ Ivanovsky in 1892. So DJ Ivanovsky in 1982 given the name virus, that means venom or poisonous fluid. And it is recognized certain microbe as the causal organism for the mosaic disease of tobacco. That means it was first observed in the tobacco mosaic disease, which was found in tobacco, and it is caused by a virus. And they found that this virus is smaller than the bacteria because they can pass through the bacteria proof filter. So there was a filter by which we can easily filter the bacteria, but this virus can easily penetrate from these filters also, and that is why they found that their size is smaller than the bacteria. Now MW Pijernek 1898 demonstrate that the extract of the infected plant of the tobacco could cause the infection in the healthy plant, and called the fluid as contagium vivagum fluidum, infectious living fluid. That means if we are taking the extract of a infected plant and we are transferring this type of infected fluid on the healthy plant, then it can infect the healthy plant also, and that is why it is infectious living fluid. Now W.M. Stanley in 1935 shows that the virus could be crystalline, and crystal consists largely of the protein. That means if we are observing the structure of the virus, then we can easily create a crystalline structure, and these crystals are basically contains the protein. And most of the, even all the virus are inert outside the specific host cell. That means if we are not getting any type of suitable host, in that condition they can easily behave like a inert or non-living. And virus are obligate parasite. Obligate means they are not having any other option to living. That means if they want to live, they have to live like a parasite. Now, in addition to protein, virus also contains the genetic material, and that could be either RNA or DNA. That means the main body of the virus is basically made up of protein, but inside the protein it also contains the nucleic acid or the genetic material, and this nucleic acid or genetic material is either RNA or DNA, and no virus contain both RNA and DNA. So it is compulsory that if any virus is there, so it will either contains the RNA or the DNA. So virus is a nucleoprotein, that means it is made up of nucleic acid and protein, so it is nucleoprotein, and the genetic material is infectious. So not the protein code is infectious, only the genetic material, which is either DNA or RNA, it is infectious. And generally the virus that infect the plant have the single stranded RNA, and the virus that infect animal that have a either single or double stranded RNA or double stranded DNA. That means if any virus is infecting the plant, that in that condition it contains only single stranded RNA. But if it is infecting the animal, then that virus contain either single or double stranded RNA or double stranded DNA. Now, bacterial virus or bacteriophage, that means a virus that is infecting the bacteria that are usually having the double stranded DNA virus. Now, the protein code that we call the capsid, it is made up of a small subunit called the capsomere. That means if we are observing the structure of a virus, it contains a protein code that we call the capsid, and that capsid is basically made up of small subunit that we call the capsomere, and that protect the nucleic acid. That means it's have only one work to protect the nucleic acid. Now these capsomeres are arranged in a helical or polyhedral geometrical form. Now, this virus can cause the disease like the mumps, smallpox, herpes, and influenza. Now, ads in human are also caused by the virus. Now, in plants, some symptoms can be mosaic formation, leaf rolling or curling, yellowing and vein clearing, dwarfing, and stunted growth. So, these are some of the symptoms which we can easily observe if any plant is suffering from virus disease. Now, viroid. So in 1971, T.O. Denner, he discovered a new infectious agent which was smaller than virus. That means at previous we know about only the bacteria was with the smallest. Then we come to know that the virus is the smallest, but the T.O. Denner, he discovered that the viroid, it is a another smallest infectious agent which is smaller than virus and caused the potato spindle tuber disease. And it was found to be the free RNA. That means it do not contain any type of proteinous code that the virus have. So these viroids are smaller than virus, and they do not contain any type of capsid outside the nucleic acid, and the nucleic acid is only RNA. And the RNA that is found in viroid, it is of low molecular weight. Now we have a lichens. So lichens are the symbiotic association, that means mutually useful association between the algae and fungi. That means if algae and fungi are living together and they are mutually giving the benefit to each other, in that case it is symbiotic association. The algal composition or is known as the phycobiont, and the fungal composition is the mycobiont. That means in lichen, the algal part is known as the phycobiont and the fungal part is known as the mycobiont, in which the phycobiont is a autotrophic and the mycobiont is a heterotropic respectively. Now algae prepare the food for the fungi, and fungi provide the shelter and absorb mineral, nutrient and water for its partner. That means the algal or the phycobiont or the mycobiont, when they are living together, in this phycobiont have only one work, they are preparing the food by the photosynthesis, and mycobiont have a two main function. First, it will provide the shelter to the phycobiont, and it will also absorb the water and nutrient from the soil, and it will provide to the its partner, that means phycobiont. Now, if we are observing the lichen, then we can't say that it is a composition of two living organism. At the starting, if we are observing, then we can see that it is only a single organism. And also the lichens are very good pollution indicators. That means these lichens can never grow in the polluted area. So if these lichens are found in an area, then we can say that that area is quite pollution free. So that's all for today. Thank you very much.